माथि मञ्चमा आई आसन ग्रहण गरिदिनुको लागि म हार्दिक हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछु। त्यसपछि को भन्नु त हजुर? देवेन्द्र दाहाल भनिसके मैले। देवेन्द्र दाहाल भनिसके। बिन्दु लोहनी पनि भनिसके। अब अरु 3 जना सबै हो। राजेश कुमार अग्रवाल त पछि आइहाल्नुहुन्छ हैन? अरु को हुनुहुन्छ भन्नुस् त? माननीय मन्त्रीज्यूलाई पनि माथि आसन ग्रहण गरिदिनुको लागि हामी हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछौं। We'd like to welcome Honorable Devendra Dahal, Minister of Physical Infrastructure and Transport, Government of Nepal, to kindly join us and take his seat on the dais. We'd also like to invite the President of YCNC, Mr. Basant Bahadur Chand, to kindly join us onto the stage. YCNC का अध्यक्ष बसन्त बहादुर चन्दज्यूलाई पनि अग्रपन्थीमा आई आसन ग्रहण गरिदिनुका लागि हामी हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछौं। Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I'd like to request everyone to kindly take their seats and please keep your mobile phones on silent mode. I'd like to request all our distinguished guests to kindly keep their mobile phones on silent mode. र पुनः एकपटक हल बाहिर रहनुभएका सम्पूर्ण अतिथि महानुभावहरूलाई हल भित्र आइदिनुका लागि हामी हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्दछौं। We'd also like to inform that our President, Mr. Rajesh Kumar Agrawal, and our Vice President, Mr. Birendra Raj Pandey, are at the door waiting for the arrival of our chief guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal. With his arrival, ladies and gentlemen, we shall formally begin the inaugural of BYD Nepal Infrastructure Summit, Built and Trust with Shivam Cement. यहाँहरूलाई जानकारी गराउन चाहन्छौं सम्मान्यज्यूको आगमन यस कार्यक्रम स्थलतर्फ हुँदैछ। उहाँको आगमन सँगसँगै हामी राष्ट्रगान बजाउने छौं भन्ने संकेत पनि यहाँहरूलाई गराउन चाहन्छौं। We'd like to welcome our chief guest for the event, Right Honorable Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. उहाँलाई जोरदार तालीले मञ्चमा स्वागत गरिदिनु हुनका लागि यहाँहरू सम्पूर्णलाई म हार्दिक हार्दिक अनुरोध गर्न चाहन्छु एन्ड लेडिज एन्ड जेन्टलमेन प्लिज डु राइज इन अनर अफ आवर नेसनल एन्थम
सायो थुङ्गा फुलका हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौमै फैलिएका मेची महाकाली सायो थुङ्गा फुलका हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौमै फैलिएका मेची महाकाली प्रकृतिका कोटि कोटि सम्पदाको आचला वीरहरूका राजधानी स्वतन्त्र अचला ज्ञान भूमि शान्ति भूमि तराई पहाड हिमाल अखण्ड यो प्यारो हाम्रो मातृभूमि नेपाल बहु जाति भाषा धर्म संस्कृति छन् विशाल अग्रगामी राष्ट्र हाम्रो जय जय नेपाल.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all. Kindly do take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BYD Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024, built and trust with Shivam Cement. We would now like to request Mr. Rajesh Kumar Agrawal, President of CNI, for the welcome remarks in this August gathering.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister of Physical Infrastructure and Transport, Honorable Minister of Home, President Emirates of CNI, keynote speakers, esteemed dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to welcome you all to the Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024. As the President of the Confederation of Nepalese Industries, I stand before you with a profound sense of pride, recognizing the significant impact this summit has had on shaping the infrastructure landscape of our nation. Since 2014, the government and CNI have worked together to make the dialogue and collaboration between the public and private sectors more meaningful. I firmly believe that such summits have laid the foundations for transformative projects that are driving Nepal's economic growth. Since its inception, the Nepal Infrastructure Summit has focused on several key objectives. First and foremost, such summits provide a forum for open dialogue between the government, private sector, and international partners. This platform allows us to identify the challenges and opportunities in infrastructure development, helping us collectively navigate the complexities of policy, finance, and execution. The summit also seeks to promote innovative financial models, recognizing that traditional modes of financing may not be sufficient to meet our growing infrastructure needs. We always strive to facilitate partnerships, both domestic and international, that can drive transformative projects and deliver long-term benefits to the Nepali people. Ladies and gentlemen, over the course of the last 4 editions, the outcomes of this summit have been significant and far-reaching. We have witnessed substantial progress in public-private partnerships, with the private sector increasingly taking the lead in key infrastructure projects. In addition, we have seen the creation of a specialized financing institution and reforms in infrastructure-related laws and policies accordingly. Likewise, the concept of developing industrial parks in public-private partnerships are also some other outcomes of the summit. The industrial parks, in fact, represent a strategic initiative to promote industrial growth, create jobs, and attract FDI in Nepal. This is a powerful example of how this summit has contributed to building a stronger and more resilient nation. Now, as we gather for the 5th edition of this summit, we are at the crossroads of Nepal's development journey. The challenges abound, but the opportunities lie ahead. The theme of this year's summit, Driving Sustainable Development Through Strategic Investment, underscores the critical intersection of infrastructure and long-term growth. At its core, the theme recognizes the urgent need to rethink how we approach infrastructure in Nepal, not just in terms of building physical assets, but also in how we finance, design, and sustain them over the long haul. This summit is not just about discussing infrastructure, it is about redefining how we build a prosperous, resilient, and sustainable Nepal. The theme of this summit is also grounded in the understanding that infrastructure remains the backbone of sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, as highlighted in various studies, Nepal needs to accelerate its efforts in its drive towards infrastructure financing to fulfill its sustainable development goals by 2030. We need huge investment in our critical infrastructure, such as energy, transport, and urban infrastructure. This year's summit provides us with a renewed opportunity to explore innovative strategies, discuss cutting-edge technologies, and chart out a roadmap that will lead us towards green, resilient, and sustainable infrastructure ecosystem. Our agenda for this summit is both ambitious and comprehensive. There are 4 plenary sessions which will highlight the challenges and opportunities of our economy. We will explore the importance of sustainable infrastructure practices, emphasizing the need for projects that are not only environmentally friendly but also socially and economically viable over the long term. In other 8 parallel sessions the next day, we will deep dive into the sectors and analyze the policies that drive infrastructure development. The parallel sessions provide a more focused examination of the key sectors. These sessions will address the challenges and opportunities within the country's specific sectors, be it transport, construction, waste management, and others. One of the sessions will also focus on the role of provincial and local governments in infrastructure development, stressing the need for better coordination between the national and local levels to improve service delivery and project execution. Ladies and gentlemen, I must address a common misconception. Many believe that a country is wealthy, therefore it has good infrastructure. But the truth is that the investment in good infrastructure makes the country wealthy. This is the narrative we need to change in Nepal. Our success depends not just on building infrastructure, but making the right investment in the right projects using innovative financial tools that go beyond traditional government expenditure. Nepal's infrastructure challenges are immense, and it is clear that the government alone does not have enough financial resources required to fund the scale of development that is necessary. This is where the public-private partnerships are crucial. We must think creatively and leverage innovative financing instruments. For example, India's hybrid annuity model has been a game changer in financing road infrastructure. Such models and other innovative financing tools offer us a blueprint for sustainable, scalable development. If we are to build a strong pipeline of infrastructure projects, every project must be financially feasible. Without financial viability, private sector engagement will remain limited, and we cannot afford to lose that momentum. The Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024 is a call to action for all stakeholders. This summit is designed to secure resources, identify the right investment modalities, and foster collaboration between all parties to ensure that Nepal's infrastructure ambitions are realized. Ladies and gentlemen, CNI, being a representative body of the largest industries and service sector in the country, is deeply committed to providing the necessary hand-holding services to private investors and ensuring that Nepal is seen as an attractive, stable, and promising destination for infrastructure investment. We believe in the power of partnerships, and we are confident that together we can transform Nepal's infrastructure landscape. In conclusion, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the government of Nepal, particularly the Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transport, Investment Board Nepal for their continuous support and collaboration. I also extend a heartfelt thanks to the youth community for Nepalese contractors for their invaluable contribution in helping make this summit a reality. Since the very beginning, a close partnership with the government has been instrumental in the success of each edition of this summit. Furthermore, I sincerely thank all of our sponsors, development partners. Your unwavering support and contributions have been vital in ensuring the success of this event. We are truly grateful for your commitment to this important cause. Thank you, and I wish you all a productive and impactful summit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agrawal, for the welcome remarks and for setting the tone of the event. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, now it is time to formally begin this prestigious event with the inaugural, and it is now my great honor and pleasure to invite our Right Honorable Prime Minister to kindly inaugurate the summit by clicking on the clicker. May I please have the clicker onto the stage? We request our chief guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister, to inaugurate the event through this clicker. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Prime Minister. We also now move on to the souvenir unveiling of the Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024. We'd like to request that to kindly be brought onto the stage. And one more time, we'd like to request our chief guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli, to kindly unveil this souvenir of Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024. Gratitude towards our chief guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister, for unveiling the NIS 2024 souvenir. Ladies and gentlemen, the souvenirs are definitely available outside, a copy for you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be showcasing the summit theme video. So all your attention towards the screen, please.
Nepal, a resource-rich nation in the Himalayas, is strategically located between the two largest markets in the world. Now, it's emerging as a global investment destination. The Nepal Infrastructure Summit is not just an event. It's a platform that unites stakeholders worldwide under a common vision of progress, sustainable development, and shared prosperity. Since its inception in 2014, this flagship event has brought together global visionary leaders, policymakers, and investors to explore Nepal's untapped potential for infrastructure development. Over the past 4 editions, the summit has led to significant achievements across multiple sectors, including the establishment of a specialized financing institution for infrastructure, the Public-Private Partnership Act, and numerous policies and legal reforms. Despite this progress, a substantial gap in infrastructure financing remains. A joint study by CNI and IIDS in 2019 revealed that Nepal needs an investment of $29 to $48 billion by 2030 across 4 major sectors: transport, energy, urban development, and water and sanitation, to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. We believe in green, resilient, and inclusive development. In line with this, the Nepal Infrastructure Summit calls for driving sustainable development through strategic investment. Central to this vision are green and innovative financing, sustainable infrastructures, robust connectivity, digital infrastructure and technology integration, and investment-friendly laws and policies. Nepal's infrastructure development journey is promising. With a collective effort from the government and private sector, Nepal can build the infrastructure that leads to a prosperous future. Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024, Driving Sustainable Development Through Strategic Investment.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the theme video highlighting the theme for this year. And now for the summit highlights, may I please invite the Vice President of the Confederation of Nepalese Industries, Mr. Birendra Raj Pandey, to kindly join me in giving the summit highlights.
Chair of the session and CNI President, Chief Guest for today, Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Honorable Minister for Home Affairs, Honorable Minister for Physical Infrastructure and Transport, Honorable President Emeritus of CNI, Your Excellencies, high-ranking government officials, dignitaries, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. Like every fellow citizen, we envision a future with robust infrastructure, one that enhances efficiency and productivity while being green, resilient, and sustainable, ultimately driving overall growth. But for our growth aspiration are severely constrained by Nepal's infrastructure financing gap, slow economic growth rate, and external factors such as global supply chain disruptions and geopolitical conflicts. Despite these challenges, Nepal is on track to graduate from LDC status by 2026, with aspirations to become middle-income country and achieve sustainable development goals by 2030. Infrastructure plays a pivotal role in supporting these ambitions, particularly as we work towards our national commitments to achieving net zero emissions by 2045. This aligns with our vision of sustainable development and position Nepal as a forward-looking nation. Strong infrastructure will be key to steering the country towards sustained economic growth and development while meeting environmental and social targets. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to welcome you to this 5th Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024, an event that has become a crucial platform for shaping the future of infrastructure development in Nepal. Since its inception, the summit has played a transformative role in setting the agenda for Nepal's infrastructure journey. The NIS 2014 summit focused on accelerating investment in infrastructure, followed by NIS 2017, which recognized the private sector as an indispensable partner. NIS 2019 shifted its focus towards building resilient infrastructure for sustainable development, while the most recent NIS 2022 emphasized the theme of infrastructure for growth. Today we gather under the banner of NIS 2024 with the theme of driving sustainable development through strategic investment. The objectives of the summit have remained consistent over the years, serving as a platform for opinion making, creating networking and business opportunities, and enabling learning and sharing between national and international experts. Each summit has contributed significantly to the dialogue on Nepal's infrastructure needs and opportunities, facilitating the exchange of knowledge, investment, and innovative solutions. The summit's past achievements speak for themselves. It has been instrumental in addressing investment and financing needs critical for development of infrastructure. Initiatives such as creation of Nepal Infrastructure Bank and implementation of Public-Private Partnership and Investment Act were significant outcomes. Funding mechanisms like viability gap funding, schemes, and hedging for mitigating foreign exchange risk have helped attract international investors. Moreover, new innovative financing models, including green bonds, blended finance, have been introduced to support sustainable infrastructure projects. The adoption of engineering, procurement, and construction, and hybrid annuity model contracts have further streamlined the implementation of large-scale projects in Nepal. The theme of this year's summit, Driving Sustainable Development Through Strategic Investment, reflects our commitment to creating infrastructure that not only meets today's needs, but also secure the future. We recognize that infrastructure development must be sustainable, resilient, and inclusive to truly benefit society in long term. This calls for strategic investment, balances economic growth with environmental sustainability and social equity. This year's summit offers a diverse range of discussions and opportunities through its plenary and parallel sessions. 4 plenary sessions has already been convened today. Sustainability with a focus on green, resilient, and inclusive development. regional infrastructure and integration, discussing how Nepal can enhance regional cooperation and connectivity, private sector investment, highlighting the indispensable role of private sector, fiscal and monetary and regulatory policies, examining how we can create conducive environment for infrastructure financing. Tomorrow's parallel sessions will cover a wide range of key infrastructure areas, including energy and water resources, urban development and affordable housing, transport, waste management, construction industry perspective. Other sessions will explore emerging issues such as creating opportunities for women in infrastructure, digital, ICT, and technology integration, and the role of provincial and local governments in infrastructure development. Participants will also have opportunities to engage in business-to-business meetings and attend sideline discussions and explore project showcases, highlighting Nepal's latest infrastructure initiatives. For the first time, this summit is going to be paperless, underscoring our commitment to sustainability. In closing, I encourage you all to fully participate, share your insights, and seize the many opportunities this summit offers. Together, we can drive the strategic investment needed to build a sustainable and prosperous future of Nepal. Thank you once again, and welcome to this Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pandey, for highlighting the achievements of this flagship summit in the past years, and for what we can look forward to today and tomorrow as well. It is now my honor and pleasure to invite a highly esteemed expert, Dr. Bindu Lohani, a distinguished fellow at the Emerging Market Forum USA, the former vice president of the Asian Development Bank, and also a distinguished adjunct faculty at the Asian Institute of Technology, to name a few prestigious titles that he holds. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Dr. Lohani.
Thank you very much. Right Honorable Prime Minister, the ministers, President Emeritus of CNI, the current President incumbent of CNI, distinguished friends, colleagues, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. The organizers has asked me to do two things today. One, to provide a quick overview of the infrastructure trend, challenges and opportunity of the whole Asia-Pacific region. I worked with the Asian Development Bank for 40 years, so had been witness some of these. Number two, they've also asked me to take some snapshot of some of the 4 sessions which happened today. I hope I can remember them well, but I can't do them all, but I will do some. Focus of my presentation, therefore, will be Asia. It will be based on the available data and facts, based on the research, based on the best practices, and some of my own experience, good and bad, in the last 40 years. We know that, can I have the first, what is that? Oh, I need this. Which one I press? Okay. And they've asked me to do this in 20 minutes. It'll be very fast. The first one, we all know this, that in percentage of GDP, is a very good measure for infrastructure investment. Very good. But what should be the percentage of the GDP is not that very simple, not that straightforward. And therefore, I'm going to ask 5 questions throughout the whole session so that I can explain everything, the trend, challenge, and opportunity. First question is, how does the current infrastructure look like in Asia? Asian countries. Now, if we look at this, Asian countries spend anywhere from 2% to 8% of the GDP in infrastructure. We can guess who that 8% will be. It's China, 5% India, Vietnam, and less than 3% ourselves, Bangladesh, etc. If we look at the stock, once you invest in infrastructure, you have stock. Again, we see different numbers here. Some countries like Thailand have about 50+%. We have 17%. Now, what this means is not to be unhappy, that we need to do more. We need to invest more in infrastructure, and we need to create more stock in infrastructure. I think this is a very clear message for us. Talking about the quality of infrastructure, if you look around the region, you will find that a country like Singapore who comes number 1, Thailand comes number 60, India comes 50. We're not there yet. And then many other countries are not there. Therefore, this is an inspiration for us, say, can we improve our quality to go and do better? How most well-developed digital infrastructure, which is very important to today's world. Again, if I pick 6 of them, it'll be Japan, South Korea, United States. China is already there. To me, India is not there. Singapore and Germany. So therefore, to me, in my own experience, if I sum up all of the whole Asia-Pacific region, to me, some of the countries which are doing exceptionally well in the infrastructure, Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, Dubai. I also like to add Malaysia and now Thailand are really getting closer to that. Next question, what are the infrastructure constraints and challenges in the region? No uniqueness on this. All countries need more electricity, more transport. Their environmental quality is degrading. They want to be climate friendly. There's a gap in quality, quantity, gap in financing, gap in knowledge. Nothing unique. And when I look at it from my own perspective, some countries have more of these than the other. We probably need to do more on this. Similarly, if we look at the infrastructure, the challenges, especially on the governance and the policy, again, all the countries have the same thing. Institutional structures, the accountability, transparency, integrity, a master planning the project, thinking long-term, and some misuse of the resources sometimes, being climate friendly, and as was said by Mr. Haribhakta, we have a problem of land acquisition and land compensation that prohibits it, makes it difficult for industry to move on. Now, therefore, the next question is, what are the infrastructure financing needs of the whole Asia-Pacific region? If you look at globally, it is anywhere from $9 to $11 trillion per year. So it's a huge number. But if you look at the Asia-Pacific region, it's about $26 trillion. And I would like you to take plus minus 10%, 20%. These numbers are always estimate. And out of that, $3.4 billion will be needed for climate proofing and for adaptation and mitigation purposes. It's a huge number. Additional burden because of the climate change, but needed burden. And if we look at that by investment needs by sector, the energy sector in Asia, power sector needs more than 50%, 30% transportation, and then 20% in ICT, and almost about 3% in the water. Now, there is also a public-private sector share of this. In the Asia-Pacific region, in the energy space, the private sector has to spend a lot of money on this, 70% above. Transport, a little less. And then we have in water, ICT and water supply. Now, if we look at in Nepal, I think the study was mentioned there in the video. In Nepal, we took a scenario, so let's say Nepal wants to go 5%. There is also a scenario for 10%. We would need almost 8% of the GDP, which is very high. And therefore, how to get there is a challenge. It also shows the private sector investment from the report we have very small, negligible, if I may say. Number two, we also need to think about now the third question, which is what are the new priorities, new thinking in infrastructure when you think? How to do this thing in a new way? And I'm going to mention 5 of this. The first, we need to think beyond EIRR and FIRR. Ambassador Chung from Korea mentioned we have to start integrating the carbon prices for future. If we don't do it, it'll be too late. We also need to be thinking about the life cycle analysis, which we don't do very much in the projects. And we need to be inclusive and equity. So in addition to the EIRR, FIR, the whole scenario, the ways of doing business has to change. We need to think about SDG because goal water is 6, goal 7 is energy, but often we don't think in an integrated fashion. The integrated thinking and infrastructure is lacking in many countries in the region, also in our country. That needs to be promoted. We need to have a laser focus on urban areas, because in Asia, 70 to 80% of the Asian by 2050 will live in cities. 70-80% of the GDP will be in the cities. 50% of the greenhouse gas will be produced there. And livelihood will be there. Even in Kathmandu, 33%, 1/3 of the GDP is made in one city in Kathmandu. So therefore, we need to have a laser focus in the cities, make this city smart, clean, green, livable, employable, etc., etc. It needs a special attention. Regional infrastructure. There was a lot of discussion on this, good presentation this morning. We talk a lot about the physical infrastructure, energy, water, inland water, but equally important from my experience is the soft infrastructure, the regulation, the standardization, being able to talk to the people, developing trust among the countries. Those are very important ingredients before you make them successful. The next thing is the quality and technology. Lots of discussion. We need to leapfrog on technology. My one message is adopt, adapt, and leapfrog. If something is so good, just adapt it. If something is so good, but we need to really localize it, adapt it. If we are so low and the technology has emerged so much, leapfrog it. I think this is the mindset that is required in Asia-Pacific region. The second thing which was mentioned is if we go for high technology, it becomes expensive. But if you do a life cycle analysis, we have seen sometimes it becomes possible to do that. The next dimension is sustainability. There's a lot of discussion on this one. 2-3 messages. One, infrastructure has to be sustainable, environmentally friendly, climate-proof, disaster-proof, and it needs to think about carbon pricing in future so that we will be in par with the rest of the world on this. Because this climate change economics is very frightening. There was a study by my last organization. If we do nothing by the year 2100, by the end of the century, the GDP loss could be anywhere up to 9 to 10% just for Nepal. And then that means how can we don't grow that much. So it's a very serious issue. So now fourth question is, what are the new and emerging opportunities? New and opportunities, this is provided by the COP24, the Paris Agreement. And let me mention a few. In the energy space, we talk about hydropower, but there's a lot of opportunity in every country, including ours, on energy efficiency, renewable. We heard this morning solar will be built, but it's not fast enough. I think we need to do really more. We haven't done solar roof. An advantage is China and India are the largest in the world in terms of the renewable solar energy, just the neighbors. Transport. I think we need to think transport completely different. If we build more roads in the urban areas, more cars, the street becomes like a parking lot. And the GDP loss coming out from these vehicles is 2 to 3% in Asia. And it depends. In some country, in Korea, we were told this morning it could be 3.6%. So we need to move from road to rail, mass transit, sector. So the whole policy on transport needs to be reformed. Water security. There are two buzzwords required in the water sector. One is water security, water resilience. And when we say security, we need to talk about 5 types of water security. Not only the drinking water security, the economic security, the urban water security, the quality security. So the water you should be able to drink, which is not the case in most of the Asian countries, and be climate friendly and resilient in future. Urbanization opportunities. Most of the cities in Asia, which are particularly those in the coastal areas, including ours, will be flooded because of the climate change, because of the precipitation. The infrastructure that you designed 30, 40 years ago is not going to be enough. Therefore, we need to retrofit. So it's a huge agenda, huge investment needed. Many countries have not done it. Not only us, others have not done it also. And it's about start thinking that we should make our city carbon neutral. There are 240 cities in the world who are already thinking of being carbon neutral by 2050. Focus on digital technology. We talked a lot about it, and I think we need to leapfrog in this area, and there is a lot of opportunity. This is also a new GDP growth opportunities for the country. There's a digital framework which I think the government has approved. That provides quite a bit of opportunities, but it needs to be updated and made it relevant because of the AI and other opportunities. The last question is on so how do we finance this? So coming from the bank, I would like to make some comments. There was an excellent presentation in the fiscal and the monetary policy area by Dr. Katiwara and many others. But what I'm going to do is, in my opinion, we don't have enough instruments. And let me show you what that I mean. There was a lot of talk this morning about public-private partnership. I won't talk about it. Minister Dr. Ocampo mentioned it so well about this one. But one thing it tells you that we have not utilized all the modalities of PPP, BOT, etc. But we also need to have a one-stop center, which doesn't seem to have worked in many countries, certainly doesn't seem to have worked here. We need to do that. We were told there is also a need for a transaction advisor. I think often that is a very good thing to have, and that was mentioned by a speaker, and I firmly believe, and my experience says that. The next modality we need to promote is we don't have this in Nepal yet. Many countries have. Infrastructure equity fund. We need a large infrastructure equity fund. We don't have one big one yet. As I think Dr. Katiwara said, the banks can only do 100 megawatt investment. So small. So we need to somehow pull it into a big resource. Such resources could also be supplemented from outsiders, MFI, World Bank, ADB, etc. And we need to do a special project vehicle for those projects in the government which could already be in the private sector, and they could be securitized. That will get you more money to do that. These instruments, we haven't done that. Tapping institutional investors. I was very happy to hear from Dr. Katiwara and from the government official from the central bank that we are finally going to have a credit rating. Once we have that, it'll be easy to tap the institutional investors in the pension fund, huge of that. I used to manage pension fund myself, $3-4 billion, but we can't invest unless you have a credit rating. Debt capital market. Again, our capital market is not well developed, but this needs to be developed. We can tap money to thematic bonds like green bonds, catastrophic bond. We have every summer we have so much catastrophe. We can have a catastrophe bond. We can do a municipal bond, etc. This whole area of capital development market needs to be developed. It'll be possible to bring in more resources like that. And the last one I'm going to say is the blended finance. This is a huge opportunity. There are lots of green funds, GCF, adaptation fund, you name it with the bilaterals and multilaterals. This is one opportunity to use that free sometime at very, very low interest, to blend it with the private sector money to make it useful and viable for programs like green infrastructure, SDG, water, energy, transport, for the new types of opportunity I mentioned. Let me conclude by saying that whether we like or not, this infrastructure will continue to remain as a priority throughout our whole life. But the way we did infrastructure in the past is not good enough. We need to think differently, build differently, we need to finance differently, and that is the new challenge. And I just took this on my own. What would make some prediction for what will be the infrastructure scenario by 2050? I can see the renewable will be energy is a train. And not only hydro, solar, the wind, etc. These will become very, very prominent in future. We will need to talk about sustainability and climate and carbon pricing. Without that, our infrastructure will not be accepted for investment by anyone. We need to be thinking about the technology, the best technology, even if it means expensive. Otherwise, we'll be left behind. Fourth, we need to talk about EVs, whether we like or not, whether we do a little bit subsidy, etc. It doesn't matter, but it's going to be the vehicle of the future. And finally, we will have to think, and people will think, in an integrated way. It's not only water project, it's an energy project. When you do a hydro, it's a water project, it's an energy project, it could be transport project. So all thinking in a holistic way in a manner has to happen, and I think will happen. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lohani, for your incredible insights from your 4 decades of learning and for meticulously pointing out the details discussed in the previous sessions as well. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now please invite onto the stage Mr. Bo Lingman, Group CEO, AirAsia, for his congratulatory remarks.
Your Excellency K.P. Sharma Oli, Prime Minister of Nepal, Your Excellency Prakash Man Singh, Deputy Prime Minister of Nepal and Minister of Urban Development, Your Excellency Devendra Dahal, Minister of Physical Infrastructure and Transport, Honorable Cabinet Members, Mr. Rajesh Kumar Agrawal, President of the Confederation of Nepalese Industries, Office Bearers of the CNI, members of the media, and ladies and gentlemen. Allow me first to thank CNI and the government of Nepal for the kind invitation to AirAsia to participate in the Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024. I would also like to commend CNI for its efforts in organizing this upscale summit, discussing the most pertinent issues concerning the future of Nepal and its role in the larger Asian context. I would also like to congratulate the Honorable Prime Minister for his relentless focus on sustainable development, which is helping to preserve the nation's natural wonders for future generations. Economically, the country is growing with improvements in infrastructure and a thriving tourism sector driven by innovative policies. Nepal is truly a jewel of South Asia, with its rich cultural heritage, breathtaking natural beauty, and warm, hospitable people. It holds a special place in the hearts of travelers worldwide. The tourism potential of this country is immense. Nepal is not just a destination, it's an experience. From the ancient temples of Kathmandu Valley to the soaring peaks of the Himalayas, Nepal offers a diversity of experience that few destinations can match, as it has something for every traveler. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also excited to be including Nepal in our growth story. I'm pleased to share that we are again expanding our footprint to the Nepalese market with our soon-to-be launched direct flights from Bangkok, Thailand to Kathmandu, Nepal in October 2024. This new route is more than just a flight connection. It's a bridge between cultures, a catalyst for economic growth, and a gateway to new opportunities. It represents our belief in Nepal's future and our own commitment to enhancing connectivity in the South Asian region. As we look to the future, we see immense potential for collaboration and growth. The development of robust infrastructure coupled with enhanced air connectivity and human capital will be key to be unlocking Nepal's full potential as a global tourist destination and a regional economic hub. And we at AirAsia are excited to be part of this journey. With that, I thank the organizer once again for having me here. I look forward to greater collaborations that will emerge from this summit so that we can create a brighter, more prosperous future for Nepal in the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lingam, for your kind words towards our country, Nepal, and our best wishes and gratitude for these new flights that have been added. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd also now like to invite Dr. Roberto Ocampo, former Secretary of Finance, Republic of the Philippines, for his congratulatory remarks at the BYD Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024.
Your Excellency, Honorable Prime Minister, the honorable ministers that are on the platform, as well as the President and Vice President of CNI. I would like to once again express my deep gratitude for your hospitality in inviting me here to Nepal, which is my first visit to this marvelous, beautiful country whose fame is all over the world. I even brought my daughter to make sure she can spread the word to the next generations of my family about Nepal. I had the opportunity, Prime Minister, to be able to share the experiences of my country, the Philippines, particularly in the application of private sector participation together with government in building infrastructure. I can say, though, that I learned as much as I thought I was imparting. The first thing I learned, with just listening to the various speakers earlier, is that just like the Philippines, Nepal, through gatherings like this, is trying to answer definitively very important questions. The first, what is at stake? Why are we going to talk about infrastructure without addressing the question, what is at stake? The Philippines faced the same question. And in our minds at that time, what was at stake is the need for us to make sure that we do not fall behind in the race to modernization. Because even as we try to catch up, the others are moving ahead, and you will forever be playing a game of catch up. At that time, we were surrounded by so-called tiger economies, and our condition was such that we were anything but a tiger, we were a pussycat. So the question of what is at stake is important. And what I think I learned from listening to the various presentations here is that Nepal has come to the conclusion that what is at stake is nothing less than catching up and making sure that Nepal does not fall behind in the kind of race towards modernization that I had just described. What is at stake is that the people of Nepal do not fall behind in poverty alleviation. And so, therefore, the question that was addressed was, can this be done? Can the success of meeting what is at stake be done without infrastructure? And the answer was obviously no. But second question is, can the government do it all by itself and build all the infrastructure? The question is probably answered by most likely not, because you need a combination of getting much more infrastructure at the shortest possible time. So you have to have both of those. And in order to accomplish this, you have to muster the combination of resources from the public sector and the private sector. Then you can get more done at a faster rate. And this, I think, is very important to address. And so that I don't end up talking too much, let me just say that the other thing I learned here is the impression I had that the organizers, particularly CNI and the government ministries, seemed to be firmly convinced that unlike the saying that talk is cheap, talk is not cheap. It is not cheap if it is not combined with action. And therefore, I was really heartened to hear many of those that spoke before me talk about the fact that even though we've had a series of such meetings such as this, the important thing is to bring it from talk to action. I advise the government to look instead of why things can be done, instead of looking for reasons of why not, they cannot be done. And most of this can be accomplished through a very rudimentary cost-benefit analysis that answers the question, what if you didn't have that infrastructure? What is the cost? What if you have it? What is the benefit? And so once again, parting with those thoughts and lessons I've learned from this wonderful seminar, honorable ministers, Your Excellency, I express once again my deepest appreciation for this opportunity of your invitation and your hospitality. And as I mentioned earlier to those gathered here, I greet you as well with a Philippine greeting of long live, which is mabuhay. Thank you very much.
Mabuhay to you too, Dr. Roberto, and thank you very much for beautifully highlighting the learnings from the incredible journey your country, Philippines, has had and your optimistic outlook in where Nepal currently stands and where it can head towards. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure and honor to invite Nobel laureate Dr. Rae Kwon Chung, board member, Ban Ki-moon Foundation for a Better Future South Korea, for his congratulatory remarks here at BYD Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024, built in trust with Shivam Cement.
Good afternoon, Excellencies, Prime Minister, ministers, and all the dignitaries. It is my great pleasure to be able to join and visit Nepal for the first time personally, and I'm excited to be here. It's a country of Mountain Everest, and also at the same time, it's a country of the birthplace of Lord Buddha. As I like the teachings of the Buddha, and I personally always enjoy meditating in my home. So Nepal and Kathmandu has been always on my bucket list, but I didn't have a chance to come. But I would like to express my appreciation to CNI for the generous invitation. Also, I'd like to express my taking this opportunity to my very good old friend, Dr. Bindu Lohani, because we have been a good friend, not because of a personal relationship, but because of our meeting of the minds for the same spirit, how to promote green growth in Asia Pacific. I personally first initiated the idea of green economic growth in 2005 in Seoul, and Dr. Lohani came to Seoul and he said, it's a great idea. And since then we became a good friend and worked together to promote the green growth paradigm in Asia Pacific. And finally, he has been always asking me to come to Kathmandu, but now finally I can be able to come to Kathmandu, so I'm so happy to come here. And upon my arrival, I'm really impressed by the leadership, political leadership, to make Nepal as a carbon neutral by 2045, even earlier than 2050. In Korea committed for 2050, but Nepal is even earlier than Korea. So I'm really impressed by such a political leadership, and also at the same time, the proactive leadership by the business. When I'm looking back at Korea's experience of infrastructure development, As many of our panelists already mentioned, infrastructure development is a backbone of the physical economic development. I have personally witnessed the Korean experience of developing highways and also IT infrastructure. I have been seeing it myself. So now I'm seeing as if it's a kind of deja vu of 1970s of Korea. And at that time, we also had the same question. We didn't have money. Korea didn't have money. We didn't have a technology. What should I do? Actually, this is the same situation, same question now we are discussing here right now. So when I was promoting green growth idea, I also had the same question. Many of the officials, government policy makers came to ASCAP. I was a director at the UN ASCAP in Bangkok for 10 years, and I was promoting green growth idea. And then many of the policymakers were asking, we don't have money and technology. How can you promote green growth? It's not something for us. It's only something for Korea or Taiwan, the money country with the money and technology. Then my answer was, no. Korea also didn't have money and technology. What is more important than money and technology is policy. Policy is more important than money and technology. If we have a right policy, money will come. Money will come. I don't have enough time to explain about this, but I have to introduce one example. I'm promoting green cotton idea in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. As you know, cotton is a big problem for them, water shortage and all the problems. And the price is very low. The income return is very low. I propose an idea. Introducing smart farm technology run by renewable solar energy. And we can sell the cotton from the smart farm with solar energy as a carbon-free, green cotton, organic, water saving. Smart farm saves 90% of water. So we can save water at the same time and selling it at a very high price. We should not just selling at a quantity and the cheapest price. We cannot compete for the price. We should compete for the quality. And then I'm proposing them the luxury fashion houses in Italy and Spain and France. They already promised me they will pay any price, whatever the price. If it is a carbon-free, water-saving, organic, then they can pay $50 per kilo. Now the actual price is only $1.5 per kilo per cotton. But green cotton can get even $50 per ton. So policy, this is a policy. Ideas, you can get money, investment. Already banks are coming to me. Oh, I want you to use my money. So if we have a right policy, money will come. So money and technology is not an issue. Right policy and the proactive leadership by the Business Federation, money will come, technology will come, and you can realize and that you can leapfrog. You just not catch up. You can go even ahead of the countries, what China is doing. China already leapfrogged. Their fintech and the EV already leapfrogged many of the developed countries. So you cannot just think about just catching up, but you can even aim higher to leapfrog the developed countries. So I'm sure the impression I got from this infrastructure summit is that with such a strong political leadership and the proactive commitment by the Business Federation, I think Nepal make the dream come true. Thank you very much for attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chung, for highlighting the crucial role policy has in development and growth and leapfrogging into financial prosperity as well. We're glad that NIS and the nudging of Dr. Lohane could finally bring you here in Nepal, and we hope that this will not be your last visit as well. Ladies and gentlemen, continuing with our program, may I now please request Honorable Dr. Binod Kumar Chaudhary, Member of Parliament and President Emeritus, CNI, for his remarks in this August gathering.
Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister of Physical Planning, Minister of Defense, Minister of Home, former ministers, members of Parliament, I wish to specially recognize Dr. Rajiv Kumar, the Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog, India, with whom the CNI had the opportunity to forge collaborative initiatives when he was the Director General of the FICCI. We even opened an office here. Welcome to Nepal. Respected dignitaries, media, ladies and gentlemen. It's both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today at the Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024, a flagship event that has been a beacon of hope and progress in our nation since 2014. I extend my deepest gratitude to CNI and Government of Nepal and the youth community of Nepalese contractors for orchestrating this significant gathering. Over the years, the Nepal Infrastructure Summit has blossomed into a premier platform, convening over thousands of participants from government bodies, private enterprises, international stakeholders, and thought leaders. This summit is not just an event, it's a crucible for collaboration, innovation, and transformative ideas in the infrastructure sector. As we gather here today, it is imperative to reflect on the state of infrastructure in Nepal, which touches the very core of our economic and social well-being. Our infrastructure projects predominantly face severe delays and inefficiencies. Take, for example, the Melanchi water project, initiated in the late 90s to quench the thirst of Kathmanduites. Similarly, the Butwal Narayanghat and Bhaktapur Dhulikhail road, crucial for improving transportation and trade routes, face ongoing delays, leading to traffic congestion and higher transportation cost and loss of productivity. In contrast, our neighbor India set a world record by constructing a 100-kilometer stretch of road in just 100 hours. The feat highlights what is possible with strong project management, resource allocation, and technological integration. Nepal must take inspiration from these examples to improve its infrastructure delivery mechanism and stay competitive. On a positive note, however, we do have success stories. The Middle Marsangdi hydroelectricity project has significantly contributed to the national grid despite initial setbacks. Projects like Arun 3 are progressing well. The other mega projects like the Pancheshwar and the Karnali basins should be prioritized as they hold the key to closing our energy infrastructure gap. The contrasting outcomes of these projects offer valuable lessons. The failure of timely execution, as seen with Melanchi, alongside delays in major road projects, emphasizes the urgent need to reform in our project development modalities. In contrast, the success of Middle Marsangdi illustrates the impact of effective planning, stakeholder management, and adaptability. We must confront these challenges relating to the airport projects. We built Pokhara International Airport and Gautam Buddha International Airport, and I'm happy to note that the Right Honorable Prime Minister, as soon as he took charge of the office, immediately initiated a meaningful and conclusive dialogues to open these airports and enhance the traffic. However, we still need to act, and I'm happy to see the CEO of the AirAsia here and reaffirming from this podium the restarting of the linkages between Thailand and Nepal through AirAsia. I also understand that there are serious discussions going on to have these projects managed under PPP model. Infrastructure is just not about construction. It has to be a holistic development. Looking beyond our borders, we can learn from the international examples. South Korea, after the Korean War, South Korea was one of the poorest countries globally. We just heard the Nobel laureate here. Through strategic government planning, which he emphasized, investment in infrastructure and fostering private sector participation, it rapidly industrialized. The development of Incheon International Airport, now a global aviation hub, showcases how visionary projects can drive a nation's economy. China's special economic zones, SEZs, cities like Shenzhen, transformed from small fishing village into a mega city in just a few decades through tax incentives and regulatory reforms. Nepal must consider creating such zones to attract investment and catalyze infrastructure development. While the challenges we face are multifaceted, they are not unsurmountable. We must address key issues of execution delays and quality standard. Frequent political changes and bureaucratic inertia contribute to delays and poor quality projects. Establishing independent project management offices that remain insulated from political fluctuations is essential to ensuring continuity and adherence to the quality standard. Financing and investment. Nepal's over-reliance on loans for major projects places a significant burden on the economy. We must explore innovative financing mechanism, including the public-private partnerships, which can mobilize private capital and expertise. For instance, the Trishuli 3A hydropower projects demonstrates the potentials of PPPs. Simplifying regulatory procedures is critical. Implementing a one-stop shop for project approvals can reduce delays and make Nepal more attractive to both domestic and foreign investors. Infrastructure projects should be developed holistically. For instance, while we have increased hydropower production, the lack of adequate transmission line hinders efficient electricity distribution. Similarly, our airports cannot reach full capacity without proper air routes agreement and supporting facilities. And that's why privatization of the airport under public-private partnership for management. A successful model from India's PPP framework, which our president also talked about, hybrid annuity model, which is called the HAM, introduces to address challenges in traditional build, operate, transfer models, especially in road construction. In HAM, the government contributes 40% upfront during the construction, while the private developer finances the remaining 60% through equity and debt. This reduces financial risk and ensures a steady cash flow through biannual annuity payments, eliminating reliance on uncertain toll revenues. Nepal can benefit from adopting HAM, particularly for road infrastructure along the key routes between India and China. By reducing developers' financial exposure and guaranteeing returns through annuity program, we can attract more private sector participation and accelerate road infrastructure development. Nepal has also made significant strides in sustainability, particularly in the electric vehicle sector. Between 2020 to 23, and Nepal saw a 245% increase in the EV imports, with 80% of the private vehicle imports now electric. This transformation has helped reduce fossil fuel dependency and carbon emissions by an estimated of 1.5 million metric tons annually. The EV penetration rate in Nepal is amongst the highest in South Asia. This should inspire further investments in renewable energy, climate resilience infrastructure. Nepal's strategic location positions it at the heart of the South Asia-East Asia corridor, uniquely placed to serve as bridge between India and China, world's two largest and the fastest growing economy. While inter-regional trade in South Asia remains below 5%, Nepal can capitalize on its position by improving infrastructure to serve as a transit hub, unlocking new trade and investment opportunities. Investing in projects like the East-West Railway, strategic highways and airport connectivity with not only strengthen domestic infrastructure, will also boost Nepal's role in regional economic integration. Our focus must extend to airport infrastructure, which is critical to facilitating tourism. Let us envision, my friends, therefore, a Nepal where infrastructure is not a bottleneck but a catalyst for growth, where our airports operate at full capacity, connecting us to the world, where our hydropower not only lights up our home but also powers our neighbors, where our tourism industry attracts millions, creating jobs and promoting cultural exchanges, where our agriculture sector thrives, feeding our people and exporting value-added products, and where every citizen, regardless of where they live, has access to the opportunity that infrastructure begins. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Honorable Dr. Binod Kumar Chaudhary for highlighting the strengths of our nation and how we can leverage it. And thank you for also painting a beautiful picture of what could Nepal look like. Ladies and gentlemen, now it is our honor and pleasure to request Honorable Devendra Dahal, Minister of Physical Infrastructure and Transport, Government of Nepal, for his special remarks in this August gathering.
आज यहाँ आयोजित नेपाल इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर समिट 2024 यस कार्यक्रमका सभाध्यक्षज्यू, सम्माननीय प्रधानमन्त्रीज्यू, माननीय गृहमन्त्री लगायत मन्त्रीज्यूहरू, माननीय सदस्यज्यूहरू र नेपालको उद्यमी क्षेत्रको लिडिङ व्यक्तित्व विनोद चौधरीज्यू र अघिल्लो रोमा बस्नुभएका आतिथ्यता ग्रहण गरिराख्नुभएका विदेशी तथा हाम्रै देश स्वदेशी प्रबुद्ध व्यक्तित्वहरू, महिला तथा सज्जनवृन्द, पत्रकार मित्रहरू, नेपाल उद्योग परिसंघ CNI र हाम्रो भौतिक पूर्वाधार तथा यातायात मन्त्रालय समेतको आयोजनामा यो बृहत नेपाल पूर्वाधार सम्मेलन नेपाल इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर समिट यहाँ उद्घाटन भएको छ। यसको लागि यसमा भूमिका निर्वाह गर्ने CNI धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। यस सम्मेलनमा भएका हाम्रा छलफलहरूले हाम्रो क्षेत्रको आर्थिक वृद्धि र सामाजिक विकासलाई अघि बढाउन आधार तयार गरेको छ। यस सम्मेलनमा भएका छलफलहरूले हाम्रो तीव्र विकासको चाहनालाई सम्बोधन गरेको छ र यसका निष्कर्षहरूले हामीलाई अवश्य नै मार्गनिर्देश गर्नेछ भन्ने विश्वास लिएको छु। हाम्रो देशको पूर्वाधारलाई रिजनल इन्टिग्रेसनको कुरासँग जोड्ने हो भने दक्षिण एसियाका देशहरूसँगको कनेक्टिभिटीको कुरा नै हो। पूर्वाधारको कुरा गर्दा हामीले सडक, रेलवे र विद्युतीय पूर्वाधारमा जोड दिएका छौँ। डिजिटल पूर्वाधारलाई पनि हामीले प्राथमिकता दिएका छौँ। हामी दुईवटा ठुलठुला अर्थतन्त्र भएका देशको बीचमा छौँ। यी दुवै देश बीचको व्यापार खरबौँको छ, त्यसैले हामीले यिनीहरूको बीचमा पुलको काम गर्न सक्छौँ र हाम्रो व्यापारलाई पनि प्रमोसन गर्न सक्छौँ। यस्तो भौगोलिक अवस्थिति हाम्रो लागि अवसर पनि हो र दुवै देशसँगको सम्बन्धलाई सन्तुलन राख्नु हाम्रो चुनौती पनि छ। यी देशहरूसँगको हाम्रो सम्बन्ध सधैँ सन्तुलित रहँदै आएको छ र सन्तुलित नै रहनेछ। एसियन हाइवे हाम्रो देशको पूर्व पश्चिम लोकमार्गले भारत हुँदै बङ्गलादेश, भुटान, पाकिस्तान र अफगानिस्तानलाई समेत जोड्दछ। अन्तर आबद्धताको कुरा गर्दा हाम्रो यस क्षेत्रको अवस्थिति लोकेसनको एडभान्टेजलाई लिएर हामीले त्यसको आधारमा पूर्वाधार बनाउनु आवश्यक छ भन्ने ठानेका छौँ। पूर्व पश्चिम हुलाकी मार्ग र ठाउँ ठाउँमा भारतीय जनताहरूसँग जोड्नका लागि निर्माण गरिएका सडकले भारतीय जनतासँगको प्रत्यक्ष सम्बन्ध र व्यापार व्यवसायलाई सहज बनाएको छ। हुलाकी मार्गसहित यी सडकहरूलाई कनेक्सन गर्ने गरी उत्तर दक्षिण लिङ्क रोडहरू बनेका छन् र बन्दैछन्। पूर्व पश्चिम रेलमार्ग र माथि उल्लेख भए बमोजिम एसियन हाइवे दक्षिण एसियाको व्यापारलाई सहज बनाएको छ। हाम्रै देशका पहाड, चुरे, भावर र तराईका जनताहरूको आवागमन र व्यापार व्यवसायलाई सहज बनाउने गरी पुष्पलाल मध्य पहाडी मार्ग र मदन भण्डारी चुरे मार्ग बनेका छन्। पहिला त हामीले कनेक्टिभिटीकै कुरा गर्छौँ। पूर्व पश्चिम मार्गहरू बनाउने सन्दर्भमा हामी लक्ष्यमा पुग्न लागेका छौँ। उत्तर दक्षिणका हाम्रा बाटाहरू रणनीतिक महत्त्वका बाटाहरू हुन्। विभिन्न कोरिडोरको रूपमा बन्दै गरेका यी बाटाहरूले चीन र भारत मात्र होइन, चीनको बाटो हुँदै युरोपसम्मको हाम्रो पहुँचलाई सहज बनाउँछ भन्ने हाम्रो धारणा रहेको छ। निजगढलाई हामीले हवाई मार्ग, सडक मार्ग र रेल मार्गको केन्द्रबिन्दु सेन्टर पोइन्टको रूपमा विकास गर्न खोजेका छौँ। यसलाई हामीले ट्रान्सपोर्टेसनको हबको रूपमा विकसित गर्न खोजेका छौँ। त्यसैले निजगढ अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय विमानस्थल निर्माण हाम्रो प्रथम प्राथमिकतामा परेको छ। त्यसै गरी बर्दिवास निजगढ रेलमार्ग छिट्टै जोड्ने र काठमाडौँ निजगढ द्रुत मार्ग छिट्टै निर्माण गर्ने लक्ष्य लिएका छौँ। टुरिज्म इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चरको कुरा गर्दा टुरिज्मलाई प्रमोसन गर्नका लागि प्राइभेट पब्लिक साझेदारी गर्दै इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाउन जरुरी छ। सरकारले पर्यटकीय स्थलहरूको स्तर उन्नति र सौन्दर्यीकरण गर्न आवश्यक छ भने निजी क्षेत्रका सञ्चालित होटल व्यवसायलाई प्रोत्साहित गर्न पनि हामीले त्यत्तिकै जरुरी छ, गर्नु जरुरी छ। हाम्रो देश विकासको दृष्टिले सधैँ पछि पर्यो। योजना आयोगको हाम्रो इतिहास लामै भए पनि त्यसले औँल्याए अनुसार हाम्रा विकासका आयोजनाहरू र संरचनाहरू योजनाबद्ध र दीर्घकालीन सोचको आधारमा बन्न नसकेको अवस्था साँचो हो। त्यसको फलस्वरूप जता प्रधानमन्त्री अथवा जता मन्त्री त्यतै विकास भन्ने भाष्य निर्माण हुन गयो। यसलाई तोड्न जरुरी छ। हुन त 2051 सालमा बनेको मनमोहन अधिकारीको अल्पमतको सरकार र सम्मान्य प्रधानमन्त्री केपी शर्मा ओलीको नेतृत्वमा बनेको 2072 र 74 को सरकारले सन्तुलित र योजनाबद्ध विकासका अवधारणाहरू ल्याएको थियो, तर तिनीहरूले पूर्ण रूपले लक्षित उद्देश्य हासिल गर्न सकेन। त्यति बेलाका कतिपय योजनाहरू अलपत्र परेका छन्। त्यसैले अब हामीले भौतिक पूर्वाधारहरू, सडक र भवन लगायतका संरचनाहरू बनाउँदा सन्तुलित विकासको अवधारणा अनुसार विकासका काम अगाडि बढाउने र अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय मापदण्ड अनुसार बनाउने गरी डिजाइन गर्न सुरु गरेका छौँ। हाम्रा विद्यमान प्रविधि र योजनाहरू 50 वर्ष अघिका जस्ता छन्। अबका पूर्वाधारहरू 100 वर्षपछिका आवश्यकता र प्रविधि अनि विकासका सम्भावना र चुनौतीहरूलाई मध्यनजर गरी बनाउनुपर्छ भन्ने हाम्रो सोचाइ र योजना रहेको छ। अब भन्ने पूर्वाधारहरू जलवायु अनुकूलन र जलवायु परिवर्तनसँग सम्बन्धित चुनौतीहरूको सामना गर्ने हुनुपर्छ भन्ने सोचाइमा छौँ। हामी पूर्वाधारहरू विपद जोखिम न्यूनीकरण र प्रदूषण रहित प्रविधिका सिद्धान्त अवलम्बन गरी निर्माण गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने त्यही अनुसारको योजना बनाइरहेका छौँ। सडक दुर्घटनामा ज्यान जाने वर्तमान भयावह स्थितिहरू मध्यनजर गर्दै विद्यमान जोखिमहरूको अध्ययन गरी सडक सुरक्षामा सडक डिजाइन निर्माणका अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय मापदण्डहरू अवलम्बन गर्न कडाइका साथ हामी लागि परेका छौँ। सडक सुरक्षा ऐन छिट्टै सदनमा ल्याउने तयारीमा छौँ। पूर्वाधारहरू निर्माणमा मानवीय सुरक्षा मापदण्ड ह्युमन सेफ्टी स्ट्यान्डर्ड निर्धारणमा विशेष योजना बनाई कडाइका साथ लागू गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने सोचाइमा छौँ। पोखरा र भैरव अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय हवाई मार्गहरूलाई नियमित अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय उडानको व्यवस्थापन आवश्यक छ। म एयर एसियाका प्रतिनिधिलाई धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। उहाँले छिट्टै यो पोखरा भैरव अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय विमानस्थलमा आफ्नो विमान चाहिँ सञ्चालन गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ। डिजिटल इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चरको कुरा गर्ने हो भने क्षेत्रीय आबद्धताको अर्को महत्त्वपूर्ण पक्ष भनेको डिजिटल कनेक्टिभिटी हो। आजको संसारमा सूचना र सञ्चार पूर्वाधार भौतिक पूर्वाधार जस्तै आवश्यक छ। क्षेत्रीय व्यापार वाणिज्य तथा आपसी सहयोगका लागि आइसिटी पूर्वाधार निर्माण र प्रभावकारी सञ्चालन महत्त्वपूर्ण छ भन्ने कुरामा नेपाल सरकार स्पष्ट छ। विद्युतीय पूर्वाधारहरूलाई व्यवस्थित गर्दै क्रस बोर्डर ट्रान्समिसन लाइन, पूर्व पश्चिम ट्रान्समिसन लाइनको स्तर उन्नति, काठमाडौँ रसुवागढी ट्रान्समिसन लाइनको स्तर उन्नति आवश्यक रहेको छ। एसियन व्यापारका लागि हामी लो वेज हाई क्वालिटीका प्रोडक्सनहरू निर्यात गर्न सक्छौँ। जडीबुटी हर्बल लगायतका निर्यात प्रोडक्सनहरू निर्यात गर्न सक्छौँ र हामी त्यसतर्फ लागेका छौँ। र सबै महानुभावहरूलाई आज प्रबुद्ध व्यक्तित्वहरूले आज यो कार्यक्रममा मलाई पनि एउटा प्यानलको अध्यक्षता गर्ने अवसर दिनुभयो र आफ्ना विचारहरू राख्न दिनुभयो। त्यसको लागि यहाँहरूलाई धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। धन्यवाद।
माननीय मन्त्रीज्यूलाई आफ्नो मन्तव्य यस कार्यक्रममा राखिदिनु भएकोमा हामी धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद ज्ञापन गर्न चाहन्छौँ। Ladies and gentlemen, it is now our deepest honor and pleasure to kindly request Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Mr. KP Sharma Oli, for his address in this August gathering. So, माननीय प्रधानमन्त्री KP Sharma ओलीज्यूलाई हामी यस नेपाल इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर समिट 2024 मा आफ्नो मन्तव्य राखिदिनु हुनका लागि विनम्र अनुरोध गर्दछौँ।
Chairman of CNI, Honorable Ministers, former Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, delegates from different countries, and leaders of infrastructure development in Nepal, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are here to discuss one of the most priority areas of the nation, that is infrastructure development. Infrastructure is not merely the physical framework upon which our cities and communities stand. It is very, very lifeblood of our economy and the foundation upon which we build our future. It is also clean energy and industry infrastructure which promotes sustainable development. In Nepal, infrastructure sector is vital for fostering economic growth and enhancing social development. For too long, our roads, bridges, and public transit systems have been neglected. We have seen the consequences of this neglect: increased traffic congestion, delayed goods and services, and a growing divide between those who have access to reliable infrastructure and those who do not. We have also seen the neglect of clean energy, IT, and urban infrastructure, which have hindered our growth process. The government has set high priority toward infrastructure development, which is the lifeline for our economic prosperity. Particularly, my administration recognizes that investing in infrastructure is investing in our people. It is about creating jobs. Infrastructure also strengthens our communities, enabling businesses to thrive and ensuring that every Nepali can access opportunities no matter where they live. I know that infrastructure development is a catalyst for growth. Improved transportation systems enable the efficient movement of goods and services, thus lowering costs and boosting trade. Industrial infrastructure is crucial for reversing the trend of deindustrialization and promote exports. Similarly, reliable energy attracts investments and fosters industrialization. Furthermore, better communication networks connect people, facilitate education, and open doors to new opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, infrastructure development also enhances the quality of life. Access to clean water and sanitation reduces health risk. We know that we need good roads, strong power transmission infrastructures, well-organized and sustainable cities, better aviation infrastructure. These are my government's policy. As we embark on building new roads, bridges, urban transport system, and energy systems, we must ensure that these developments are environmentally sustainable. Through the infrastructure development is a top priority. Though the infrastructure development is a top priority, the government alone cannot fulfill such huge infrastructure needs. The private sector needs to work hand to hand with the government for materializing this shared vision towards happy Nepali and prosperous Nepal. The government is always ready to collaborate with the private sector for infrastructure growth. We can together build better transmission lines, better roads, better and livable cities. With the federalization, the infrastructure needs have increased, and the collaboration between all three levels of the government has been very strong. The infrastructure needs of the local, provincial, and federal governments can be streamlined for our shared goal towards economic prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, the government and the private sector should be able to work together in building infrastructure in Nepal. I think we need to explore different alternatives in financing a number of infrastructure projects. For instance, we need to find out ways in harnessing financing instruments to build our infrastructure through private sector participation. We have encountered a number of difficult circumstances in the past, which have deeply wounded our economy. For instance, the COVID had serious impact on our economy, and it was further compounded by slowed economy globally. But I feel really proud to state that we have come across the difficult situation and have proved our resilience strongly. Nepal has shown resilience and are gradually recovering. We need private investment and improve our economy. Our policies and practices are perfectly aligned to welcoming private investment in Nepal. The government is always ready to provide hand-holding services to investors, whether they are national or international. The government has set up specialized institutions such as Investment Board for providing specialized services to private sector in financing projects in Nepal. The government works for improving the livelihood of the people. We are committed in generating employment, building aspirations in the country. We want to create more opportunities within the country, such as the thousands of youths will see a better future within the country, and they should be able to contribute to the country's economy. In closing, let me emphasize that this is not just a government effort. It requires the collaboration of businesses, communities, and all levels of government. Together, we can build an infrastructure that reflects our values, our aspirations, and our commitment to prosperous Nepal, happy Nepali. And finally, I would like to thank CNI and the Ministry of Infrastructure, Physical Infrastructure, and Roads for organizing this marvelous, very fruitful summit here in Kathmandu. In this particular time, when we are committed to transfer our economy within a few years from LDC to a developing one. And we have to meet the Sustainable Development Goals within a few years. And we are committed for that, to achieve the goals. In such a situation, this is organized, and I would like to welcome all the friends from different countries as well. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and our deepest gratitude to the Right Honorable K.P. Sharma Oli for his address as the chief guest of the inaugural session of Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024. May I now please request our President, Rajesh Kumar Agrawal, to kindly hand over this token of appreciation to our chief guest, Right Honorable K.P. Sharma Oli. We would now like to present this token of appreciation to our chief guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister of Nepal, Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli, for graciously accepting our invitation for his continued support and leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come towards the closing of the inaugural session here at Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024, may I please invite onto the stage Mr. Basant Bahadur Chand, President of YCNC, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Sadiksha. Chair of the session and CNI President, Mr. Rajesh Kumar Agrawal, our Chief Guest, Right Honorable Mr. K.P. Sharma Oli, Prime Minister, Government of Nepal, Honorable Mr. Devendra Dahal, Minister, Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transport, Honorable Ramesh Lekhak, Minister, Home Affairs and Government of Nepal, Honorable Manbir Rai, Minister, Ministry of Defense, Honorable Dr. Binod Kumar Chaudhary, Member of Parliament and President Emeritus CNI, and members of Parliament, and Dr. Robert F. D. Ocampo, former Secretary of Finance, Republic of the Philippines, Nobel laureate Dr. Rekan Song, board member, Ban Ki-moon Foundation for Better Future, South Korea, Dr. Bindu Lohani, former Vice President, Asian Development Bank, Manila, Dr. Bo Lingam Group CEO, Air Asia, Mr. Birendra Raj Pandey, Vice President, CNI, esteemed excellencies, distinguished government officials, and esteemed dignitaries from Nepal and beyond. Dear friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all. It is with immense pleasure and honor that I deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee. As we draw this significant opening plenary to close, I would like to express our profound gratitude to all those who contributed in organizing this summit. First and foremost, our deepest appreciation goes to our distinguished chief guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli, Your presence and inspiring address have greatly enriched our discussions, offering invaluable insights that will undoubtedly influence our future endeavors. Thank you for sharing your vision and wisdom with us. We extend our heartfelt thanks to Honorable Mr. Devendra Dahal, Minister of Physical Infrastructure and Transport. Your support and guidance throughout the planning and execution of this event have been instrumental. Your commitment and dedication have significantly contributed to the success of this summit. We are also deeply grateful to Honorable Dr. Vinod Kumar Chaudhary, a Member of Parliament. Your special presence and ongoing support have been highly valued. Your engagement has added considerable depth to our discussions. Our sincere gratitude extends to Dr. Roberto F.D. Ocampo, former Secretary of Finance of the Republic of the Philippines. Your expert insights and thoughtful deliberation have been immensely beneficial and greatly appreciated. A special thanks goes to Dr. Bindu Lohani, former Vice President of the Asian Development Bank. Your gracious presence and enlightening contributions have added significant value to our event. We are grateful for your participation. We also wish to thank Dr. Wolingam, Group CEO of AirAsia. Your presence and the depth of your insight have been greatly appreciated. To all our distinguished speakers and panelists, your expertise and willingness to share your knowledge have been invaluable. Your engaging presentations have provided new perspectives and sparked meaningful discussions. We are deeply thankful to all our esteemed guests and attendees. Your active participation and support have enriched the event. It's an impactful experience. Our sincere appreciation also goes to our government ministers, development partners, professional organizations, and sponsors. Your generous support has been critical in the success of the summit. To the organizing committee, including the CNI Governing Council, YCNC members, and the Investment Board Nepal, congratulations on your tireless efforts and meticulous planning. Your dedication behind the scene has ensured the success of this summit. Lastly, a special thank you to our hospitality partner, the Solti, Kathmandu, for your warm hospitality. In conclusion, thank you once again to everyone for your invaluable contribution and participation. Your involvement has made the summit both memorable and impactful. Wishing you all a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the President of YCNC, Mr. Basant Bahadur Chand. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we come towards the end of the inaugural session of Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024. May I please request CNI office bearers, YCNC board members, General Secretary, treasurers to kindly join us onto the stage for a group photograph. I'd also like to request our international delegates, our speakers, our international speakers in this inaugural session, as well as our previous sessions, to kindly join us onto the stage for a group photograph. Requesting CNI office bearers, YCNC board members, our international delegates, CNI Governing Council members to kindly join us for a group photograph to conclude the inaugural session of BYD Nepal Infrastructure Summit, Build and Trust with Shivam Cement. Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a group photograph. Thank you to all our distinguished guest delegates for being a part of day one of Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024. Thank you for your gracious presence. We invite all our distinguished guests to kindly join us for dinner. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in the group photograph. We'd like to thank our Right Honorable Prime Minister, our Chief Guest, Right Honorable K.P. Sharma Oli, for his gracious presence in the opening session, inaugural session of BYT Nepal Infrastructure Summit 2024. It was lovely being your host for day one. We request all our distinguished guests to kindly join us for dinner. Please do make sure to drop in your translation headsets. We'd like to request all our distinguished guests to please make sure that you drop your translation headset devices at the counter from where you took them. A humble request. यहाँहरूले यदि translation device लिनुभएको छ भने यहाँहरू सम्पूर्णलाई आफ्नो त्यो translation device